Breaking news is shaking the entire nation right now. The Supreme Court and the Department of Justice have launched an unprecedented push to end firearm permits, a move that could completely change the way Americans carry guns and interact with gun laws in 2026. This is not a drill, and this is not something that will gradually take effect over time. The legal framework surrounding firearm ownership, especially concealed carry, is facing one of its most dramatic overhauls in decades, and every gun owner, every responsible carrier, and even those simply interested in public safety need to pay immediate attention. Imagine waking up next year and discovering that the permits you've relied on for years are no longer valid, or that new rules make previously legal actions potentially criminal. That is the reality that is approaching faster than many Americans realize, and being prepared could mean the difference between compliance and costly legal trouble. For years, firearm permits have acted as the cornerstone of responsible gun ownership. They have provided the legal structure for who can carry, where they can carry, and under what conditions. They have been essential for law enforcement and the public alike, ensuring that firearms are carried safely and legally. Now the Supreme Court's emergency action, backed fully by the Department of Justice, is threatening to dismantle this system in a move that many are calling historic. The legal implications are enormous. States may have to revise long-standing laws almost overnight. Reciprocity agreements may be nullified, and gun owners will be left scrambling to understand what is legal and what is not. Alongside this seismic shift, 5 specific gun law changes are set to take effect in 2026, and each one has profound consequences for concealed carry and general firearm ownership. These are not minor adjustments. They are changes that could fundamentally reshape daily life for millions of Americans. Some of these changes will directly affect your ability to carry concealed weapons legally. Others will redefine reporting requirements and background checks, and some will introduce penalties for actions that were previously considered legal. Understanding these changes is no longer optional, it's essential. Every gun owner, every family that relies on firearms for protection, and every advocate for responsible gun ownership needs to be fully informed now, not when it is too late. The first shock comes from the potential elimination of traditional state-level firearm permits. For decades, these permits have been the backbone of concealed carry laws in many states, providing a structured and regulated path for responsible gun owners. With this emergency push, many of these permits may no longer exist in their current form. Individuals who previously relied on these permits could find themselves facing entirely new rules that vary from one state to another, and in some cases, from one county to the next. Legal analysts warn that this could create confusion on a massive scale, with responsible gun owners accidentally violating laws simply because the framework has shifted so dramatically. The key takeaway is that relying on old permits or outdated knowledge could result in serious consequences in 2026. Next, background check regulations are being overhauled in ways that could catch many gun owners off guard. While background checks have always been a fundamental part of firearm transactions, the methods of enforcement and the types of transactions covered are being expanded. This could include private sales, transfers between family members, and even transactions that occur at gun shows or online. The Supreme Court and DOJ are essentially reshaping the rules around who can legally possess and carry firearms. Any gun owner who buys, sells, or trades a firearm needs to understand these new requirements thoroughly. Failing to comply, even unintentionally, could have severe legal consequences, including fines, license suspensions, or even criminal charges. Staying ahead of these changes is critical for anyone serious about firearm ownership. Third, concealed carry reciprocity between states is facing significant uncertainty. Currently, many states honor permits from other states, allowing responsible gun owners to carry across state lines legally. This system of reciprocity is at risk of being dismantled or radically changed under the new legal framework. Some states may refuse to recognize permits issued elsewhere, while others might impose additional requirements or restrictions. This could have serious implications for anyone who travels frequently, hunts across state lines, or simply commutes between states with a concealed weapon. Without careful planning, gun owners could unknowingly violate laws in states they previously considered safe, leading to legal penalties or confiscation of firearms. Understanding which states will maintain reciprocity and which will not is essential for planning and compliance. Fourth, storage and transportation laws are tightening in ways that gun owners must take seriously. Proper storage of firearms has always been important, but new laws are introducing stricter standards and harsher penalties for non-compliance. Improper storage could now result in significant fines, criminal charges, or even the loss of your firearms in extreme cases. Transportation rules are also changing, with new requirements for how firearms are carried in vehicles, including specifics about cases, locks, and accessibility. This is particularly important for concealed carriers who regularly travel with their weapons, whether for personal protection, recreation, or work-related purposes. Compliance with these new standards is not just a suggestion. It is a legal obligation that can have life-altering consequences if ignored. Fifth, reporting requirements for firearms are being expanded in ways that many gun owners may not anticipate. New regulations could require reporting of ownership, transfers, or even specific storage practices. Failure to adhere to these requirements could result in criminal liability. For families with multiple gun owners in a household, this could mean additional paperwork, increased scrutiny, and the need for careful record-keeping. Understanding exactly what needs to be reported, when, and to whom will be crucial for compliance. These changes are not minor procedural updates. They are major shifts designed to ensure accountability and oversight, and ignoring them could have serious ramifications. It is important to note that while these changes may feel overwhelming, they are not designed to eliminate responsible gun ownership. Rather, they represent a period of adjustment and a need for proactive compliance. Gun owners who act now, by educating themselves, reviewing their current permits, understanding new background check rules, checking reciprocity agreements, and ensuring proper storage and reporting, will be able to navigate these changes successfully. Ignoring the situation, however, could lead to costly mistakes and unintended legal violations. Knowledge, preparedness, and vigilance are the keys to staying safe and compliant under this new legal landscape. Legal experts are already emphasizing the importance of consulting with attorneys or advocacy organizations specializing in firearm law. With the Supreme Court and DOJ actively reshaping the legal framework, guidance from professionals is more critical than ever. Understanding how these laws interact, how they will be enforced, and how to maintain compliance can mean the difference between safe, responsible ownership and facing serious penalties. These legal professionals are not just resources. They are essential allies for anyone navigating the rapidly changing rules of concealed carry and firearm possession. Media coverage of this historic legal shift is extensive, but much of it focuses on political implications rather than practical realities. The truth is that the impact on everyday gun owners is enormous. Families who carry for personal protection, hunters, recreational shooters, and anyone with a concealed carry permit must understand how these new rules will affect them directly. Legal changes that might seem abstract or bureaucratic can have very real consequences in daily life. Traveling across state lines, storing firearms at home, or even lending a firearm to a trusted friend or family member could all become legal minefields if these updates are not fully understood. Gun advocacy organizations are also mobilizing, creating guides, webinars, and legal toolkits to help gun owners adapt. These resources are invaluable because they break down complex legal language into actionable steps. For anyone who wants to continue carrying responsibly and legally in 2026, accessing and using these resources is critical. The combination of proactive research, professional guidance, and careful compliance planning can ensure that gun owners remain fully within the law while continuing to exercise their rights safely and responsibly. As we look ahead to 2026, it is clear that the Supreme Court and DOJ's actions will mark a historic turning point in U.S. gun law. The elimination of certain permits, Changes to background checks, adjustments to reciprocity, stricter storage and transportation requirements, and expanded reporting rules will fundamentally alter how concealed carry works. For gun owners, these changes are not theoretical. They are real, they are imminent, and they demand immediate attention. Preparation now will prevent problems later, while inaction could lead to unintended legal consequences that may be difficult or impossible to reverse. This moment represents both a challenge and an opportunity. Responsible gun owners have the chance to educate themselves, adapt their practices, and emerge fully compliant under the new legal framework. Ignorance is no longer an option, and the stakes have never been higher. Every decision, every action, and every step taken to understand these changes will have a direct impact on your ability to legally carry, own, and use firearms safely. The Supreme Court and DOJ have set the stage for a dramatic shift in firearm laws, and the responsibility now falls on each individual to respond intelligently and responsibly. In summary, the combination of the Supreme Court's emergency move to end firearm permits and the 5 gun law changes taking effect in 2026 represents one of the most significant overhauls in U.S. firearm law in decades. From eliminating traditional permits to tightening background checks, from altering reciprocity agreements to imposing stricter storage and reporting requirements, these changes are set to impact every gun owner in some way. Staying informed, seeking professional guidance, and acting proactively are no longer optional. They are essential. The future of concealed carry and firearm ownership in America is being rewritten, and those who take action now will be best positioned to navigate this new era safely, legally, and responsibly. The clock is ticking. 2026 is approaching rapidly, and the rules that have governed firearm ownership for decades are being fundamentally altered. The Supreme Court and DOJ's actions are historic, unprecedented, and potentially transformative. Responsible gun owners must act now, understand the changes, and adapt immediately. Failure to do so could result in serious legal consequences, while those who take the initiative will continue to exercise their rights safely, legally, and with confidence. The landscape of gun ownership in America is shifting before our eyes, and the time to prepare is now.